Welcome to our first quarterly meeting of the year. Appreciate everyone's time. Who enjoyed the pizza? Raise a hand. Who enjoyed the football game last night? Still feeling the effects of the football game?
They don't either.
All right, let's get started. Our agenda, pretty typical for what we're going to do. We'll talk about new project highlights and after some financial performance for the full year, 2024. We'll talk about a little some HR stuff. Communication guidelines install in our company, and then finally we'll stay here the whole time. You'll get a chance to win a wrap. Got a couple different prizes. With that, I'll hand it over to Ted. Ted will speak about our financial overview from last year.
Remember that dance? You're gonna get it again.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It is real quick. Thanks for coming out. Want to let everybody know and say a special before everybody starts falling asleep because we start going over financial numbers. I want to say first and foremost, thank you. Thank you to everybody in this room. Thank you to everybody online. Thank you to everybody who was not able to attend today. Time sheets are in. Thank you very much. 128 people. We had 2 people not have their time sheets in this morning, which required their managers to give them. As of now, I think we are now 100% done with all our time sheets. I really appreciate you guys doing this. I know it does cause a little bit of hassle for you. You're having to change some of your work processes, but it's really critical that we get our time in as quickly as possible. The main point is project teams will now have quicker visibility into the labor costs that are hitting their projects and can manage the operational components a lot better. Management can see how things are going so that we can steer the ship a little bit straighter. If we have to wait till Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, before we're getting views of what's going on, we're already done with the next week. We already have more hours hitting the projects. Operation teams have no idea that they need to slow or speed up activities. Management has no idea if they need to steer in a different direction. Now that we're getting these things done very quickly, we are able to control a little bit better, get better visibility into our project. We are getting a lot of pushes from all different aspects about being able to forecast out. There's going to be a lot of new things coming in 25 related to that. And one of the main critical points that I brought up several times to everybody in those emails is time management is paramount in our business. Really, 90% of our revenue streams, our operational activities are all related to our own personal time, what we're doing inside the business. So please, managers, if you need better visibility into something, reach out to me. I've talked to a couple people this morning already that would like to start to see some things differently. We are adaptive. We want to get that stuff going on. But first and foremost, thank you. And you're the reason why we are now able to make some of these decisions and really get this visibility in. Jumping into the dreaded financials. There we go. All right, so 24, we had an exceptional year in 24. I've been talking about it all the way through. So in 2024, we generated year-to-date $23.8 million of NSR. Okay? That was 820,000 more, 3.5% higher than what we planned to do. Excellent work. We really pushed ourselves right there at the end. We were able to identify a lot of sources, and we were able to push that revenue streams up in the fourth quarter above our plan. Really what we wanted. Okay? We are seeing a nice incremental growth, a nice set of growth going on from 23 to 24. Seeing roughly about a 24% increase in our NSR year over year. Solid, strong growth demonstrates that the company does have the right mentality, that we are focusing where we need to be. You can see up here, this will be made available. You break down each one of the sectors and your teams within sight here so that you're able to see. From a high level, the private sector, which makes up our land development teams, both Houston, Austin, and Dallas, as well as our GIS team and our site development team, for 24 generated $14.3 million in NSR. Their plan was to do 2.8, so they exceeded by $1.4 million of NSR. And that's work that they performed greater than what we planned for them. Survey generated 5.3 million, the best survey ever done before. They had a plan to do 5.4. We were really pushing survey to do that work. But to achieve right there at plan, excellent work from the survey team. I know they got a lot of new agreements last year. They set up a lot of the groundwork in there. They've been doing a tremendous push. I really need to say thanks to them for that work. Our public side of the field really is our water team, makes up our public works, facility team, and our hydrology teams. We generated $4,021,000 of NSR last year. Your goal was to generate 387. 3,884,000. We're 130, you're 137,000 above your NSR plan. Again, great work. Got a lot of good contracts right there at the end of the word, a couple new ones. That really helped push you. Great work all the way through last year. Last year, one word real quick was that beginning of the year, we saw that slowdown. Things were a little bit slower. Started picking up May, June, we hit the ground running, and then you all know what happened from July going all the way until October, November, where we were putting in long hours, we were just grinding it out. Okay? Let's try not to do that this year. Let's keep the first quarter strong and not lose ground in the first quarter so that you really are sweating it.
Can we still grind it out, but just maybe all year long?
Let's put the grind out. Okay? It is not expected that you are here 24/7, 18 out of 24, anything like that. Okay? But we do need to get the work done. The growth potential is out there. You've demonstrated in 24 over 23. Move into 25, our growth expectations are even higher. You'll see our earnings goal. The bottom blue line kind of over the green. RG Miller as a whole generated $5.5 million of free variable comp earnings. We had a goal of hitting right at $4 million. So we are $1.6 million above our earnings plan. That's amazing. Great bonuses paid out last year. We're going to shoot to do the same thing in 25. That is through focus on project strengthening, earnings within the projects, earnings within our sector, and then overall management. Great job. The other, yes. You can go through and see the breakdown of it by one of our business lines. The other item I wanted to point out, headcount. Okay? At the end of the year, we ended at 126 people within RG Miller survey combined. Our goal for 25 is 151. 25 people improvement. From 23 to 24, we only really grew by about 4 people. Between the 2 years, we did a lot of replacements. We had some people that were departing earlier in the year. We didn't come back to backfill some positions. Backfilled all those now. The focus is really now growing, getting bigger, taking on more workloads, getting better responsibilities out there, everything like that. So 151 is our goal for this year. And I'm sure you're sitting there going, yeah, we need to add some resources into my area as well. I'm getting a little bit tired of doing all the work. And our managers have gotten down and have looked into all that stuff, and we are expected to add another 25 people. Very, very good, very strong earnings. Our labor utilization, you know, 71% by the end of the year. And that's really dedicated to all the hard work you did throughout the entire. Thank you all very much. This breaks down our earnings by sector. You can see that our private sector really had a strong earnings. Several good projects early last year that really took off, and that really is what propelled the private sector into getting that real strong earnings at the end of the year. Okay, survey as well. Several good contracts they got in place. Earnings at the end of the year again well exceeding plan. The public side, we did see a pretty significant slowdown go out through the year. We did pick up a lot of new agreements towards the end of the year. Most of those new agreements are really going to be hitting in 25. Some of the groundwork was really established in 24. So we do have some cost within the public side that we were having to ride through in 24. But I do want to remind you, even though the cost and the earnings were a little bit down, public still went out there and exceeded their NSR. They are really putting the groundwork together for 25 to be this huge step here. They're really pushing themselves very strong. We're seeing an improvement in our utilization and our net multipliers. So over 12-month trailing, so we're just taking a look at 12 months. How's that average flowing within inside there? Are we seeing it drop down? Are we seeing it flat? Are we seeing any kind of improvements? These are the different kind of KPIs that we watch. And that multiplier and direct labor are all tied to your time, where the cost is hitting, and how those are impacting budgets and work skill. But we have seen a tremendous amount of improvements going in there. Before we jump into that one, I did want to open it up. Does anybody have any questions about the financial activities or anything that's going on within the finance side? Anybody online? Hands raised. For 25, before we jump into the next portion, I just want to lay out the plan for 25. So this year, we are expected, not anticipating, we are expected to hit $31.8 million of NSR. That is a 25% growth over 24. We grew about 24% from 23 to 24. We're looking to do the same thing in 25. Okay, that equates to about a size $7.9 million improvement in the NSR. We've got high expectations for our new regions in Austin and Dallas, as well as within our public side as they really hit the ground running. Our earnings next year, we're expecting very similar, about a 25% improvement in our earnings. Okay? We've got to really focus right off the bat on controlling our costs, making sure our projects are good, billing our clients appropriately and on time, and trying to reduce as much of the discrepancies between our contracts and what our client expectations. And then, as I mentioned earlier, 25 people improvement, that actually comes to a 20% improvement in our headcount. So all of these things are really starting to lay the structure and groundwork for RGM survey to really take that next big leap forward, really take on more responsibility, grow businesses, and really have some fun. So I want to say thank you all for all the hard work last year. It really was a pleasure with that. Any questions, any comments, complaints, gripes? Tomatoes in the back?
Yeah, just reiterating what you said, that was fantastic. We did a little slow start, but it came out again and hit all the goals. Kudos to everyone in this room. 25 is going to be even better. All right. Yeah, Nathan. came over from our Miller Survey Group. He's going to tell us about what he's been doing and
All right, everybody. It's my first presentation, so be nice. Ted, great job. First couple of slides, really all of that transparency. So brief introduction. I'm an assistant project manager over at Miller Survey. I've been back with the company coming up on 2 years now, but previously I was there almost 8 years. So got a lot of tenure there. A little split there in the middle, but we're back. So I kind of wanted to go over just a little bit of a survey process and how things happen in our house, essentially. So this is the sample scope that we received from client. And over here to the side, we have superimposed kind of our proposal list out, essentially. And this is line by line, just goes over exactly what the client is expecting upon delivery. So I then wanted to take you guys into our survey process, and I'm not going to hit every single point here, but I do want to hit the ones that are in yellow. So after we receive that work authorization, we then go and research the ownership near the scope area and a part of the project area as well. This can be lengthy. This process, this part of the process can take a little bit of time, depending on how big the project area is and how much it's been subdivided. Then going down here, the next highlighted point, research, controlling monumentation, the datum near the project site. This comes from, we have plans that we can use. That does help. If it's an existing site, if it's a new site, we're looking for TSART monuments set by Harris County Flood Control, NGS monuments, things like that. Then another key point here, we'll send a field crew to the scope area to obtain all the requested data. This is, typical for any of our projects that require our field work. So again, this can take, between a week, 2 weeks sometimes with our field crews. Some of these bigger projects, we've seen upwards of a month down in the field. Up here to the top, resolve the boundary using the field collected monumentations. This is property corners, things like that. Then we'll come down here to this line work. This creating line work step, again, it really just depends on the size of the project itself. Coming down here, the surface model contours for the scope area. I think a lot of the engineers in this room probably are very familiar with surface models, contours, and that's a big thing that we provide. And then last up here is send files to the client, email attachment or OneDrive. This is something that we've been doing here lately, getting everything kind of housed into a OneDrive link, which makes things easier to access for everybody. I do need to switch over here to the computer though, because I did want to just kind of show, okay. So this is what about 24 hours of field work looks like, give or take. So we've set the site control. We have found the property corners on site, and we've collected some of the topography in the area. 84 hours of field work. This is basically all the topo is done at this point. We've got buildings measured and sketches, pictures have been collected. Once that all happens, the field work's typically done and it comes in the office, and then this is where we start getting our hands dirty. So we'll resolve all of the subject and adjoining tract boundaries. And obviously this is a collaboration with RPLS to sit down with them and go over what we're looking at and kind of get their insight on those things as well. Next slide here, we'll plot any of the known easements on site. This can typically come from title commitment if provided, or survey support letter. Some kind of an abstracting service provides us with this information, unless it's a platted tract. It's a platted tract, plot those easements as they're shown on the plat. Otherwise, we do need research for these easements. The next thing in the agenda, we'll create the line work for all of the site improvements. At this time, I mean, we've put in quite a bit of work on this project in the office by now. We're really familiar with this site. And then another pretty critical step in the process is making sure that all of the point labels that we're showing the elevations, making sure that those are legible for anybody that's going to read the survey, or because it could be inserted in your plans, or just as a background image, say for your design on the engineering side. The next step here, adding any of the underground utility inverts. This project in particular, it's so clustered that we needed to do an invert table here in the bottom. And then another item here is the cover text. So for any non-wet utilities, we need to call those out as well. So that's what this step has those items. Create the surface model, label contours. As you can see, I did probably a pretty poor job here. I was trying to do a detail to show these because it's kind of hard to see from a project standpoint. But yeah, you can see some of these contour labels labeled out here. Next step, we have our text call outs. So this can include building dimensions, building types. You could have just paving material types, any miscellaneous topography on the site is labeled with this step. And then this is a final survey, signed, sealed, and sent out to the client. In addition to the PDF that we send to the client, we also send a CAD file, point file, surface file, XML, and a code list. So this is kind of a top-down look at our process and what happens when we get a proposal for work and then what we end up spitting out on the other end. Yes, sir.
You mentioned about 84 hours to get all the field work done
Yes, for this specific
for
project.
this kind of topic site.
I think give or take, it was about 18 to 20 acres, I think. Because I think the whole site, as you can see up here on this label, it's about 42 acres, but this was about half of that project. Right, so I'd say about 20 acres. So I was actually the one who worked on this one specifically. All this time, it took, say about a week and a half turnaround time. But it's not consistent. It's not, we'll have a couple of days here, jump off to another project, a couple of days here. But I'd say about total time in the office, 45, 50 hours.
So needless to say, an engineer can't call you up and say, hey, can you knock this out overnight?
Right. We might be able to do the field work, but being able to turn around in the office is sometimes. So. But any other questions?
I have no question. So this project right here, is this a project that, I'm assuming it's for a different client, right? So have you ever received a request in this nature from RGM, like from us?
Yes, and I think it varies project to project, and it really comes down to the project manager. So the project manager might send us a really detailed scope and outline everything that they need in their in the proposal, and work with Brian back and forth on that. But it does come down to the project manager and kind of their attention to detail, I guess you could say, exactly what they need. Fully outlining it does help us a lot. Because if we're out there, we do tend to go outside of the scope limits just to make sure that there's, kind of some overlap being provided, but for the most part, it definitely provides having details provided.
And can you say that the timeline between an outsider tie-in versus us requesting the same type of work is the turnaround the same time?
We give every client the same turnaround expectation. So, when it's requested, especially right now, we're so busy, sometimes things are requested. I think we increased our turnaround time to 3 weeks, typically from receipt of scope and proposal signed authorization. And about 3 weeks to deliver, depending on the size of the project. If it's much bigger, it could be longer term.
And currently, you said that you use OneDrive for clients for outside. Is that the same thing for RGM as well?
Yes, that's what we're really working on ramping. a lot more using that OneDrive. In the past, we would just send, the pump files, through an email, right? But if we have any pictures that would help, kind of explain certain areas, that's what kind of triggered us to start using the OneDrive. But now I'm seeing it as a really good way to kind of swap files out, and interchange things.
And I was gonna ask you, do you see any efficiency or advantage of sharing a drive versus doing a OneDrive?
I do. And I think, that is, being able to swap files out, say if, say client requests, that we go into a little more detail in a certain area, then we can kind of replace inside of that same folder, replace a revised survey.
Or like with us, we get XREF, right? If somebody has a plan, XREF still. Yeah, that's something that I think will be a huge advantage for sure.
Absolutely.
Because I know right now, and I don't want to get too much in details, but I know right now we're using SharePoint with Hyperlinks, kind of like OneDrive.
Yes, sir.
So far, that's our way to communicate. Since we don't have a drive, we upload things on the.
Use the tech that's at our fingertips, right?
Yeah.
All right, and that's it for me.
Okay, so next up, Aaron. Hopefully you do better than what I think. Aaron's with our land service department. She's going to speak a little bit about the kind of work that her team does and.
All right. I'm Erin. For those who don't know me, I'm the land service manager. All right, my department consists of Haley and Christy. Wave, those can't see them, they're off camera, sorry. But here are their headshots. So I oversee mainly the engineering district, documents, the bonds, proposals, work authorizations, and as well as overseeing the department. Haley oversees the initial stages. She does the advertising, works with Business Journal to get that posted, does all the CIVCAS documents, any questions, as well as the pre-bid and the bid committee, and that includes the bid tab. So once we get that awarded, then we hand it off to Christy, who does the contracts, works with the attorneys on getting all those approved. She does all the field meetings, that's the NTPs, pre-cons, any other random field meetings you might need. She does handing off the pay estimates to her currently, and she also does the inspection packages. So she pretty much takes it to the end of the process. And any one of us are happy to finalize the documents as far as confirming the logo, the address, format, all the Arial size 10, that good stuff. So we can happily help you with those. Any questions on scope of work? Cool. Now I'll come bore you with some other information here. For 2024, I started towards the end of Q1. So the bonds I personally worked on, and who some were done prior to me, was the 450, the Harris 432, the Ben's 141, and Brazoria 36. And CP and ID, my favorite, report bonds. And then I also did a surplus fund application to wrap up the year, which was for Ben 5. And then this year, so if you don't have yours listed up here, please let me know, but I'm anticipating at least 4 bonds. That's going to be the Harris County 86, Brazoria 69, Montgomery County 96, and Mud 5 again. And then potentially 2 more bond elections, Mud 5 again, Avery K keeps me busy. And then West Harris County Mud 15. The year. So that could turn into an additional bond. Proposals, I worked on about 50 proposals, about 80 work authorizations last year alone. January so far, I've done about 20 total. And 2 work authorizations. That doesn't include what I've done in projecting about 60 proposals, give or take how Austin and Dallas do, and then about 100 work authorization. We are moving to Ruben. Right. And because I'm a numbers girly, here is my breakdown of One is gonna be what I took over. So the numbers are slightly lower. This is what I tracked on my end. So advertisements, Q1, we did 15 last year, 24 in Q2, 14 in Q3, 13 in Q4 for about 66 that my team handled last year. In January so far, we've done 2. We have a couple more in the pipeline for this month. And then for contracts, 24, we took over and we did about 5 last first quarter last year. And then Q2 was 30, Q3 was 21, Q4 was 13. And then you can kind of see how that coincides to the average contract drafted. So we should be advertising when we're ready pretty much to time. And then pay estimates, just a couple that we did last year. Got Q1, I did about 9, Q2, 43, Q3, 74, Q4, 87 for 213 pay estimates that we processed last year. So as our advertisements and contracts, grow, our pay estimates, they're still stacking projects aren't done. It's not a one and done typically. So the volume is increasing. So Christine and I did about 19 last month. We've done a couple already this month. So we're definitely busy. Anyone have any questions? I know it's lots of fun. Question.
25% more next year.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm in line with that.
Thanks, Sharon. Next topic is related to our volunteer policy. So do a quick recap on the pictures you see construction going from the upper left all around. Construction had a lot of folks involved with that. Cougars, the U of H, did some volunteer work for them. The West Houston Assistance Ministry, top right. That's me walking through the snakes, city of Madison, meet up with them. The middle one is the Harris County Precinct 1 Street Olympics. We had several of us that were part of that. And then going back to construction, that was the night we received our award for our construction event. So it's a great event. The purpose of what I'm about to talk about is kind of not only what we've done, we want to enhance that. So there's we've established a volunteer policy. I want to personally thank Todd Elston. He kind of led the committee for that group. We recognize as a leadership team that giving back to the community is extremely important, not only to us, but also to folks coming that want to work with us, right? Very often in our interviews, we get asked that question, what do you guys do to give back? And so we created this volunteer policy, and this isn't specifically to be for the company sponsored events, the constructions, things like that. This is on your own time, but during workout. We're authorizing up to 9 hours a year for anybody to utilize for their own purposes. You can see the list of volunteer activities that animal shelters, for example, youth programs, hospitals. If you want to give back some time during work hours, you have 9 hours a year to do. And we fully support that. Really want you to, fly the Archie Miller flag on your shirt, when you do those types of things and give back to the community. It's real important for us to do that. There is requirements. You're gonna have to request this time from your manager, fill out a form, all these kind of steps to kind of police it, make sure that it's not interrupting your workload and things that are required to deadlines and whatnot. But in general, we really want to support that. So there'll be an additional video that comes out with kind of the guidance on that. HR will send that out, please. All right. Any questions right now about all that? But who has an idea of something they want to get back to the community? All right. What do you think?
Animal shelter, I just recently adopted a shelter issue.
Our cat from the animal shelter was raised and later on process a lot today. So. It's the only thing I can think of. But anyway, thank you for those, Todd. Thanks for leading that group. All right, we'll go to the next one. This is again related to volunteering. Last time we met, we talked about the adjustments selected by Commissioner Briones to take over a street. And Prashant's here to speak about kind of the next phase of that.
So I have, following that trend of, volunteering, spoke on the Adopt a Highway program. So I just want to introduce it. We'll have some correspondence coming out this week. We're looking to do something the end of early beginning of next month. But yeah, just a little bit more about it. It is a county road from about Sharps Road to Katie Hockley. So this program, it helps improve the area, obviously cleanliness, the bayou, the rivers, and ultimately, Galveston. So this is something that we started, I believe, July of last year, I believe. So we want to actually get out there and do some cleaning up there. So, like I said, we'll send out some correspondence of sign up sheet if anyone is interested, and then we're looking to, do it end of this month or early next. Any questions from anyone? Yeah.
All right. Communication guidelines and introduction. We're going to get Wade back on the screen.
So we had our strategic meetings back in the end of summer last year, July and into August. And one of the items that we discussed in those meetings was communication, primarily communication with our clients. So I kind of thought this could be broader, even with internally with each other as we communicate, with email and all the what we can communicate with, all the email, text, phone call. So we kind of develop this guidelines. And basically, it's a tool to try to drive, initial conversations will probably come from this. All the leaders we did review this together and fine tuned it and have several components in it. I don't know, maybe I should share screen. This is going to be rolled out officially, probably, I assume it, probably following this meeting. It's basically a guideline that'll be put out for RG Miller and Miller Survey as well. Okay. So this is the guideline. I'm not going to, go through all of this, but I'll hit the high points. But basically we'll look to you guys to review it, look at it, and raise any questions you have to your supervisor. But the main kind of points are just, we want to be responsive. A lot of issues that we find with clients, when we talk to them about, to be honest, why did they leave another engineer? A lot of it is communication. They felt like they weren't getting timely responses. They didn't know if they were working on their projects or not. So this is kind of a guideline we set up to, we're looking for, a 2-hour response time at the max. So, to play out a scenario, you get an email from a client, they're asking for information or they're providing information. We look to our project managers to respond to that email within 2 hours. Sooner, obviously, sooner the better. At least acknowledging, yes, I've received it, I'm working on it, or we'll get you a response, just so that the client knows that the question was received, the information was received, and that you're working on it. And I'm guilty of it. A lot of times you get the question, you get the answer, and as engineers, we just start working on it. We're assigning it to someone to get it done. And you forget that the client's sitting over there and they don't know, did they get this? Are they working on it? So it's just a quick response to them. And then the guideline goes through some different things, as far as, if you're out for more than 2 days, we give a sample that you can use for your signature so that if you're going to be out, the client knows, they get an email and they're directed to someone to contact. And then we get into, best methods for if you're texting your client or phone, virtual meetings. After hour communication is key. We know that, we're Monday through Thursday, 7:30, 5:30, with a Friday, 7:30 to 11:30. But, the industry standard is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We want to be available at least at those time frames. And, as project manager, you may have a project that's, may have an emergency to be responsive, outside of those working hours. And I know a lot, kind of a lot of this stuff is, kind of common sense, but, you may find yourself working with a difficult client and we just kind of want to have this, set as expectations as a reminder of what we're trying to achieve. And if you have any of those kind of issues, if you have those difficult clients, please reach out to a peer or your supervisor to get advice on how you should handle that. Another thing we're driving for is client feedback. We're going to figure out ways to communicate that to the client, either put it in our proposals under assumptions that, we're asking the client that if we ask for information that they're responsive to us as well. And obviously you want to be diplomatic with that and, make sure that they're aware that this is for the betterment of the overall project. Let me get into, how to scheduling meetings, escalation procedure. So, you have, your supervisor, your coworkers, we're a team. So we want to make sure that if you have in a difficult situation to communicate that and, you have folks available to you, senior PMs, myself, Mark, Caleb, all these folks are, we've got experience and we want to help work through any difficult situation that arises because it's inevitable. It happens. Obviously the confidentiality and data protection. I assume we have like a hold harmless agreement that we share with clients, if we're sharing electronic. So you have to make sure you adhere to that and save that in the appropriate folder locations that anyone can come behind you, or if you're on a vacation, they can access it. They know where it's at. This is where I get into the client responsiveness and expectations, client availability. We have our quality assurance. Updates. So yeah, in conclude, I don't know I think talking to Mark, I think if it hasn't been assigned, that we're going to create a role for a client service manager. And this person's, you have your direct supervisor, obviously, but there'll be someone that kind of overall sees over, our client service and, what expectations are. So, take this guideline, take a look at it. If you have any questions and, certainly if you have something you think should be added to this, raise it up to your supervisor and we, and bring it to us and we can take a look at it and have it added. And we don't expect, this isn't going to be posted on your desk, but I think it's kind of the initial review, initial read and questions that come from those conversations is kind of the point of this guidelines. And once this gets in place, ideally this becomes part of our culture to be responsive. Because like I said at the beginning, we know that that's a very valuable component that a lot of our clients are looking for from their engineer.
Thanks, Wade. Andrea, we can send this out as well. Which takes us to Andrea. We're talking about HR updates. This is fun stuff.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I begin, I just want to take a brief moment to thank everyone, not just RG Miller, but Miller Survey as well, for the delightful welcome that I have received. I really appreciate it. I'm truly grateful for all of that. And I just want you to know that my door is always open. If there is anything you guys need, I'm always here. Thank you for all the feedback that you guys have provided the company. And I look forward to continuing forward and look forward to helping you guys. With that being said, today I'm happy to share that we have some exciting updates about our team. So First, we want to celebrate 3 employees from Miller Survey for all the hard work and dedication that they have contributed to the company. First, Caroline Jardine Quinn is celebrating 20 years with us. Nathan Ritter, he been with us for 10 years, making a big impact along the way. And Ramiro Compan, marking 5 years, and we look forward to continue to have many more years with us. Next one. Now, let's welcome the new employees who joined our last quarter. We're very excited to have them on board and look forward to working with them. If I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all names have been called. Joseph Langley, our new construction inspector.
He's on.
Okay, there he is. Well, remain seated.
Stay up.
Priscilla Chamberlain, our new staff accountant, right over there. Mustafa Almar, our new project manager. Joining us from Miller Survey, we have Joshua Abeja, our new Rotman. So last but not least, I want to take a moment to celebrate some of our team members who have earned a well-deserved promotion. From Miller Surveys, we have, again, Nathan Ritter, promoted to assistant project manager, and Trevor Griffin, now a senior survey technician. And from RG Miller, Andrew Garza, now director of site department. Andrew here. No. Richard Lee, over here. Alberto Espinosa and Mark Roth, both promoted to senior project manager. Frank Nguyen, now production manager. Aaron Osuna and Mason Holden, now engineering training level 2. Devin Lam, promoted to administrative assistant level 2. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to everyone and welcome aboard those that are new. We have 25 new people, so that's a great opportunity to meet some new friends and nice coming up. Some of you may have already heard about this award that we received, our GIS team. The Organizational Impact Award provided to us by the Waller County Economic Development Commission. So in January, I was at an annual planning meeting. They unbeknownst to me, the award was working. In summer, they had reached out to me and I said, hey, I think our GIS team could help you out. And I kind of let it go, and it turns out that they did a fantastic job. The partnership was able to utilize that information, go give a presentation to the county commissioner court, chasing after some different organizational type stuff that the county's trying to do. But every time that he gave that presentation, our RG Miller DCC logo was on. So that's fantastic for us. It's fantastic for editors to see our name at those kind of events. So just want to give one last time congratulate the GIS team and thank them for their support. And we'll get into upcoming social events. Jackie, are you going to speak to any kind of?
Yeah.
You're the unit.
No. Good afternoon. My name is Jackie. For those of you who don't know me, about maybe 2 weeks ago, we elected a whole new board member committee. We got Prashan as VP, we got Shayler for outreach, and we got Salvador for our treasurer. This year, I think we're really going to focus on doing RSVPs for larger events. I wanted to put that out there because we tried it for the holiday party. So make sure you RSVP so you don't waste our budget. We have an event coming up this Wednesday. We'll do January, February, and Valentine's mini pancakes. That invite will be coming out. And for upcoming events, we're already trying to coordinate April's Crawfish, May's Taco Truck, and we're already trying to get holiday pricing. Andrea's actually helping me on that too. Haley's reached out. Besides that, anybody else would like to join the committee? It's open and we're open for any ideas. Anything, questions?
We doing baseball this year?
Or two. Don't get that much more budget.
You do have a budget, Sam. All right, we're getting towards the end, so we're gonna see if this video.
The Houston Rockets would like to.
Oh, we're here.
Ain't no stone of March.
Oh, thank you, man.
The Houston Rockets would like to present you with this honor. Give it up for Mark, Caleb. And I'm
Here you get an agent, wait for Hollywood to call you.
And just in recognition, they also gave some two autographed,
20 years.
one by everybody in the team.
The company.
Gave that out. And the other one was of, which player was it?
Almont Thompson.
Almond Thompson. And we donated that to Engineers Week. Yeah, it's a fundraising. So we're gonna raise some dollars with that ball as well as our air tickets. So it was a lot of fun. Just wanted to share that fun video with you all. We were both very nervous about it. So, raffle time, we got two things we're gonna raffle off, or we're gonna win the deal. The first one, we're talking rockets. What's on? This is for the drawing for two tickets to Rockets with a, is that right?
Yeah.
Middle of the wheel. All right. Here we go. Reserve parking. Amy, have you enjoyed your spot for live recording? Hope you win again. Congratulations to the winners.
I don't know.
Look at that. We are. Thanks for everybody joining online. Per the new communication guidelines, everything online, you're gonna have your camera.